Oh, hey everybody! It's about 11 o'clock at night. This is a Tuesday, and I forgot what day it is. Maybe 12th or whatever it is. I forgot now. Time for me to make my credit card payment. I know that. Um, this will be the last video that we do. We're going to run down the news and just get you caught up. I did put a video out today at around 4 o'clock, and that's on the new channel. And I'm going to leave that link here. If you're coming to this channel and you see that there's no more action, please come to Paul Pachula and either put it in all as one word or separate it and put capital. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's all small letters and I think it's all connected. I made another channel stupidly that had very similar, and I'm having trouble with it. So I'll be happy to get this over with. Anyways, let's go ahead and we'll just run Bitcoin and then the metals as they are active 24 hours a day, generally speaking. And then we will get on with the news. We'll make this a quick one. Okay. Silver is finally falling. It's at exactly $87 and is about to go down. Gold is down $15. It's at 4,706. And let's see what we got here with Bitcoin. Let's see what Bitcoin is. 81,000 flat. Up $550. Okay. So now we'll just go ahead and get into the news. Remember, this is the last show that I'm going to do on this channel. I will start making that very clear in the titles of the videos that I put up here. They'll just be simply links to get you over to the new channel. Just to let you know, I listened to a little bit, although it was hard to drive today because it was bad rain. I listened to something on the Hatfields and McCoys, and I was under the impression that it was the Hatfields and the McCoys. It was a big feud between two families, and it was very complex, I must admit. I was not really savvy to it, and I guess it was parts of Virginia or West Virginia. I believe it was West Virginia and Kentucky. And I had heard it was over an errant pig, but yes, it was. That's where it really got ahead of steam. Comparing it to a hurricane, they don't know where to call it a hurricane. When it hits somewhere. So what they're saying is that there was a bunch of pigs that were ready to slaughter, and it was an important thing back then. That's a food sustenance. And somebody had them in a pen, and I forget, it was the Hatfields or the McCoys. They came over and they said, "Those are our pigs." And they looked at one pig, and one pig had the marking on it. They used to clip the ears of the pigs to identify. But pigs would fight each other. They lived out in the wild. They were all over the place. There was all sorts of things that went on. Anyways, long story short, we've been led to believe that they were savages. And I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't. But it was a bad thing, folks. I had heard it almost reignited the Civil War. It's kind of like Trump. It's kind of like Trump. If you're for Trump, you're in one camp, and if you're against Trump, you're in another camp. And it's like the first question somebody's going to ask you if you're going to have a friendship with them or a business deal. And that's what it came down to. You had to either be on the side of the Hatfields or the McCoys. What I did not know, which I should have known, is that it was a complex affair because the families were part of each other. They had lots of cousins and second cousins and all this. Marriages to each other, there were a lot. So some had more blood from one side than the other. But the thing that I give them so much credit for is that that situation where they had the problem with the pigs, it was really entertaining to me here listening to this, because at the time people would sue at the drop of a hat. Gunfighting, rifle fighting, and so forth, that was discouraged, and it really wasn't pursued a lot. It did happen, though, and that's what the problem was. There were a lot of gunfights between the Hatfields and the McCoy, both small scale and large scale. This damn near reignited the Civil War. So the weird thing was that when they went to court, the juries and the judges were Hatfields or McCoys. They were those families, and the jurors also. So it was strange. They had jurors that were six that were Hatfields and six that were McCoys, and the judge, I believe, was a McCoy. Yet he sided with the Hatfields over the pig business. And it just shows me that they were, decent people. Maybe not all of them, but by and large, I think they were all pretty good people. And my mind goes back to that letter that I saw written on a little piece of paper of a coal miner that had written a note to his wife because he was suffocating to death. And, he gave her instructions about how to raise the daughter. He didn't really do that. He just said, please raise her well, as a good person, and it was sad because you could see how difficult it was for him to make the letters. At that particular point, he was minutes or moments from death. And, the problem with that area, as a lot of you know, is that there was quite a bit of incest. And that oftentimes ran in the form of daughters and fathers. And that was not completely unusual at that time. And even there are cases now. But West Virginia was loaded with that. And they were coal miners or unemployed, one of the two, generally speaking, even now, I'm told, but to some degree. But aside from that, I think that they're pretty good people. I really do. Back at that time, it was very easy to find justice at the end of a gun. So now I'm not done. I happened to watch for about 2 hours almost the claimed only survivor of Custer's last stand, which was in 1876, in June, early June 1876, when this pompous ass, George Armstrong Custer, went to clean up the last of these Indians that did not want to go onto these reservations. And they were also called something else. I forgot the name of it, but I forgot now. But reservations is good enough. They called it something else too. But these are the last bands of Indians led by Sitting Bull, as I recall. And they did not want to go into the reservations. They wanted to live as they did, but it was impossible because there were so many scouts and this and that, not Indian, but Skinners, and they were killing the buffalo off, and the Indians just had they couldn't live as they lived their whole time, and it was just impossible. So it was a sad case, and these were the last of the Indians at that time, and they got together and they decided to do a little payback on approximately 200 is what I understood, of Custer's troops. And much like the Knights Templar, these were soldiers that were notoriously very at ease with having a couple of few hundred soldiers and attacking thousands of Indians. And they had questionable tactics. They would oftentimes win by kidnapping women and children of the stronger soldiers and negotiate surrenders. I learned a lot today from this, and it was sad to listen to. But this man, Frickle, what was his name? Frank Fickle, I think it was Fickle, of German ancestry. He claims he was the only survivor of the Custer's last stand at Little Bighorn. And that was in Montana, southern Montana, which is way, way up in the Midwestern part of our country, a little bit more than Midwestern. It's a little bit more to the west. And my feeling on it, they still can't get a solid answer. The Army refuses to admit that he was the last survivor, but it was an astonishing story. The Indians had left their horses, and they had moved their way very quietly in numbers going into the thousands, going on their stomachs and working their way through this high grass. And the Union soldiers there had no idea what they were up against. They had no idea what was coming. And they wound up being surrounded by a massive amount of Indians. And they were pretty much all slaughtered. And they said in typical Indian fashion, although some would disagree, they wouldn't disagree with what happened, but all the bodies were pretty much dismembered in various different kind of gruesome ways. And it was said by the troops that came in that were reinforcements, when they came in, they found them all dead. And they said that if you were the best friend of a man, you would not be able to pick him out because it was that bad. So the record keeping does not help this situation. And according to what I saw today, Custer almost did get away. They took a high spot on the mountain there, and they tried to protect it by shooting their horses and getting behind the horses. I don't know if that was Custer's idea. He certainly didn't like it. According to the movie that I saw, Little Big Man, he did not like it. He wanted all those men to be shot, all of his troops. Of course, there weren't many left at that point, and plenty of Indians coming up to them and shooting them. And they also fired volleys of arrows at the final survivors on Last Stand Hill. That was the name of the place there. And it was just a sad situation. And this guy wound up being on his horse, and he got shot in the foot. And it, much like my situation here on my wrist, as you could see there, he took a hit to an artery on his foot, and he was bleeding out. And then he got shot in the abdomen, which was almost a death sentence back then. He got shot in the abdomen, and there's nothing much he could do about it because as he was riding on his horse, he was kind of drooped over. And then a shot came in, and I forget what it hit, but it hit something, and the fragments hit him on the forehead and essentially just kind of like knocked him out. And he had all sorts of problems with that. So he was unconscious. He was bleeding to death. He had a wound in his abdomen by bullet, which was still in his body. And the horse carried him quite a distance. And I think they said it was about 70 miles. And this is his story, by the way. really can't be confirmed, although the Indians that they talked to corroborated the story, and he explained the movements of Custer pretty much to a T. So whoever did that would have to have been there. But there was some problems with the name that he used. But desertions were at 30 to 35% or more. I've seen some of the things, and it was not an easy life, folks. They had a very lean meal. I believe they were coming out with canning at that time, if I'm not mistaken. It may have been a little bit before, I'm not sure. It might have been all jerky. That was just salted meat to keep it fresh, but they just did not have hardly any food. And, the big thing was pipe. If you had a pipe, you could get some tobacco and smoke, which was probably a pretty nice thing to do back at that time. Looking at the men's pictures from back then and the images, it was just like their teeth were horrible and all that kind of stuff. So there were a lot of desertions, and they think that that had a part in it, why they couldn't identify him. But it was absolutely interesting, and I know the question some of you might have, who did I believe? I like to try to go with concrete evidence, but there's really no concrete evidence to tie him there. But I think he may have been telling the truth. I think he did, because more for the fact that if you spray a whole bunch of bug spray on roaches, even if you have them trapped to a great degree, it always seems like invariably one or two of them will get away. So I kind of think it was something along that line. That's kind of in human nature. Even the Germans machine gunned down many, many people during their time. The Germans massacred a lot of Italians in World War II because they put the Italians in charge of going and taking Greece, and they couldn't do it. And they had a greater than 2-1 man advantage over the Greeks, and the Greeks held them off. And the Germans finally came in because they had almost no troops there. And they came in and just mass slaughtered those Italian soldiers. And invariably, a couple of them got away because they got shot, but they survived because they just massacred them. So that's my feeling on it. I can't go any deeper on than that. And we're at 18 minutes. Let's take a real quick run of the news. It was fascinating nonetheless. The whole thing, even the Hatfields and the McCoys, that was very interesting as well. Now let's go ahead and let's check out the Drudge Report. And I did it earlier on the new channel, Paul Pachula. So I'm not going to read it all again. I'm only going to see if there's anything different. Saudi Arabia launched covert attacks on Iran. Tehran forces have claimed that they've attacked Spotify. I know it's a music thing, or who knows. It's for people on the up and up. Regime retains substantial missile capabilities. It's probably being augmented by the Russians and the Chinese and the North Koreans. That would be my guess. And it would not surprise me at all to see a massive, several hundred, if not 1,000, massive missile attack at some point on Israel. Massive. On a scale that they've never seen before, and will be difficult for Bibsy there to be able to explain to his people. All right. At Trump here, our illustrious leader says he's about to go to China, and I guess the reporter asked him what he thought about the economy here because of the high gas prices. And Trump simply says, this is him talking, not I don't think about American financial situation. So he better soon. because once prices of gasoline exceed $7, you can't, it's almost impossible to go and work. If you get a job and it's 40 miles away and your car is getting 15 miles a gallon, I mean, it's still 3 or 4 gallons each way. By everything time all is said and done, 4 gallons each way is 8 gallons. And 8 gallons is going to start being $70. If you make $110, it's not good to make $40 after your gas. And there's other expenses as well. It's unbelievable. Tires, wear and tear, et cetera, et cetera. It's terrible. And they're saying that the power prices are climbing by 61%. I think it's probably going to be much more than that. I think they use diesel for most of the power plants, I think. And inflation, as I said on my other channel, suck my dick, fuck you, it's not 3.8. Fuck you and your 3.8% inflation. You can shove that up your ass. It's not 3.8%. Fuck you. Anyone that wants to talk to me about 3.8% inflation, fuck you. All right, so that's what they're saying. Prices for these grocery items spike. They're all spiking. Everything from chicken to fucking lettuce and raspberries. It's all going up. I go in there every day. I try to save money by buying food at the groceries because I can't afford fucking $12 to go eat at Taco Bell to get full. AOC is surging in primary for New York City for what, mayor? I don't know what that is. Whatever it is. And she's doing very well. And they're trying to bring New York City into a kind of a Cuba. They want to have government stores where you can get food. The problem with these eggheads is that they don't understand Cuba. Cuba, they might have cereal in Cuba, but it'll be something like baby food or something. It's not going to be anything that you're going to want to eat. And the stoops there in New York City, they're going to be thinking that it's going to be cereal handed out with $7 boxes of Fruit Loops and Apple Jacks and this and that and the other thing. And you're going to get something along the line of oatmeal or something like that. It ain't going to be what you think. And if you get cereal, it's going to be something like, shredded wheat, which these people don't fucking know or care for. So there you have it. This is a bad one. This woman right here, who was an ex California mayor, was found guilty of collaborating and being in the camp of China. And it worries me, folks. A lot of you think that I just hate the Latinos. And if you want to say it, my hatred does not stop with the Latinos. A lot of Chinese people come here and they don't even resemble human beings. They don't. I'm sorry. They don't even come here. It's like an alcoholic, like I said in my other channel. If you want to be a dedicated alcoholic, you got to go through rehab. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times because you're smart enough to know that if you want to be a long-run alcoholic, you got to do what you're told to do so that you can get back in being an alcoholic or a drug addict. So you go by these beauty shops and the nail places, and folks, these are not Americans. They're Americans by name only. They are Vietnamese that are Vietnamese and will never be anything else. They're only going to manage life in the United States. They will never be part of us. And that's probably what this was all about. It's very, very difficult. I watched a movie on it one time, a long, long time ago, which means that I'm a hell of a lot smarter than you about this. And it was called, I can't remember the name of the movie. It's been a long time. But it was back in the mid-'80s. And it was back when Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers were so prolific, winning everything. And it was a computer programmer, and he took his whole family to China, and I can't remember the name of it now. It's right on the tip of my tongue. The Great Divide. Is it called the Great Divide? Or the Great Wall? The Great Wall, I think it was called. Check it out. The Great Wall, the Great Divide, whatever it is, the Great Wall. And it basically showed in China how different it was than how it was here in the United States in the early 80s. And they lived a very nice lifestyle, rooting for the San Francisco 49ers at that time, which were sweeping everything at the time. And so it was very, very interesting indeed. But are you surprised? No. And you're going to find that out as things get harder and harder, I think. And I'm not sure about this, but I think it's probably going to come to fruition. You're going to see a lot more. This is what happens every time. When you look through history, they don't like the minorities. And when things really get pushed to shove, they go after the minorities. And that's what I think is probably going to happen. And I think it's going to be real bad. When I told you, Mexicans trying to get out by fighting and injuring people to get out back into Mexico could very well be exactly like I just told you. As hard as they fought to come in, they'll fight that hard to get out. That's possible. If we get $7, $8 gas, it could very well happen. Anyways, folks, take care. We're going to have to leave it there. It's already 27 minutes. Take care. From this point on, I will only be shuttling people over to the new channel. No more videos on this channel. Take care. Thank you. Join me at my new channel. I'll put a link there. Bye.